Okay, this is part 3. We're going to take up where we left off. Annotating for the star. The third paragraph I've already highlighted. It reads, myths, on the other hand, are stories that are held sacred in some ancient cultures. They explain how events and aspects of nature came about. Please highlight and circle what I've already done. And ask yourself, do you know what sacred is? If you do, put a synonym right here. If you don't, let's let somebody read a dictionary definition for us. Okay, so we left off here, how the events and aspects of nature came about, tales about gods and goddesses who symbolize basic beliefs of the civilization, supernatural beings and superhuman heroes. Let's underline the super part of that. Super, hyper, bigger than life, are often the main characters in myths. Having survived for thousands of years, these tales sometimes shift in time or place, but always maintain their symbolic, let's underline that, meaning. And I write the main ideas: sacred, gods, beliefs, super, and symbols. I see some things that are alike here. That's what we're going to work on down here. Paragraph 4. In both, circle, myths and legends, highlight the initial historical event, if there ever was one, becomes lost over time and the story is transformed so that the message or lesson is the most important thing. The message or lesson, okay? So that's in both. Now, we had 2 questions over here, and we're going to put a line out beside the numbers. We always do that, so we put our answer there when we bubble. We will not make a mistake. Okay. Earlier, I told you to box phenomenon, an event that is noteworthy, and I'll pause again for you to tell us what we put there. Okay, first question. Which term best completes section 2 of the Venn diagram? Here in the middle. Should we put symbolism? Do they both have symbolism? I believe I'm seeing symbolism here. And symbols, symbolize. I think that might be the answer. I'm going to put a little check mark over here. Modern. Did we see modern? No. Delete. Survival. I don't see that in both. And that's what section 2 is both. Gods and goddesses. Nope. Which one was gods and goddesses? That's right, myths, but not legends. So we were right with our initial gut feeling. 16. Which term belongs in section 1 of the Venn diagram? That would mean it's only in myths. Lesson about good character. Lesson about good character. I don't even think we had that in there. Lesson about good character. Does anybody see it? Good character? I don't even see that. Fictional story. Myth. Myth are sacred. Explain events. Tell about gods and goddesses. Are those real? Nope, they're fiction. Their beliefs are what they believe. Supernatural beings, superhuman heroes. I'm kind of liking that because those are not real. Those are fiction. What about myths? Have to be American Indian culture. Is that true? No. Explanation of a phenomenon. Myths, on the other hand, phenomenon is an event that's noteworthy. Aspects of nature, that could be considered a phenomenon. So do we have aspects of nature up here? No. Excuse me. So which one are we liking better? We're trying to pick 50-50 between G and J. Somebody tell me which one you think and why. Okay. Are legends fictional? Yes, it says right here, exaggerated, correct? So we really do need to delete that one and choose this one. Okay, moving on. I always talk about to my classes, pick the thing that's the hardest for you and do that passage first. Should we go ahead and move right on to the long passage so that we can answer that short answer question? I think so. That would be my recommendation. So we're going to move to the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz, it's an excerpt. We are going to look at the questions first. We already did a little bit of question looking because we have put paragraph 11, paragraph 12, we put those beside 5 and 6. Let's look at number 4 question. We put the line, when establishing your purpose, excuse me, for reading, you would determine that the purpose is inform, interpret, perform a task. What is a task? Okay. Or to be entertained. Purpose for reading. You would determine the purpose is. I'm going to make a prediction. I don't think this is going to be informational because I'm familiar with the story. It's a story. It's a narrative. I don't think it's going to be interpretation. I don't think it's going to be telling me how to perform a task. I think it's going to make a prediction of being entertained. Rule. Paragraph 11. The word rule is used. Which dictionary definition? Is it a prescribed guide for conduct? Conduct means how you behave. Is it a valid statement or standard judgment? Is it exercising authority or power? Or is it marking with lines drawn along a straight edge like a ruler? I'm going to predict this is not it because I am a little, excuse me, a little familiar with it. So I think we can delete that one. So it's going to be telling you how to behave, what the judgment is, or are we having power here? Number 6, in monitoring your own comprehension, what would be an appropriate question to ask yourself as you read paragraph 12? I'm going to wait till I get there, but this one talks about heart. This one talks about why did the author write. This one talks about Arthur contrasting these two characters, or purpose of the ruby slippers. We'll have to go back and read that. Okay, number 8. Okay, in paragraph 24, you can use context clues to determine that the word whirling means screaming, running, crying, or spinning. We'll have to go back and see. Number 9, if you wanted to combine a prefix with cyclone to indicate Dorothy came home after the cyclone, I could answer this without even going to the story. Pre means what? Okay. Sub means what? Like, give me an example of a word. Okay. Post or anti. I know that post means after. Pre is before, sub is below, like submarine, and anti is against. So it would be post-cyclone to mean after the cyclone. Let's go to the story. I want you to mark and highlight exactly what I mark and highlight. Okay, this is an excerpt, which is a part from The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. The Wizard of Oz. Before they went to see Glinda. Always, always, always highlight time sequence words. Before they went to see Glinda. That must be an important character. However, they were taken to a room of the castle where Dorothy washed her face and combed, well, let's get the right word, Miss Margrave. Dorothy washed her face and combed her hair. What did the lion do? Shook the dust out of his mane. Scarecrow patted himself into his best shape. The woodman polished his tin and oiled his joints. When they were all quite presentable, they followed the soldier girl into a big room where the witch Glinda, oh, now we know she is a what? That's right, sat upon a throne of rubies. Paragraph 2. She was both beautiful and young to their eyes. Her hair was rich red in color and fell flowing ringlets over her shoulders. Her dress was pure white, but her eyes were blue, and they looked kindly upon the little girl. Would you say she's attractive? Maybe even pretty? Paragraph 3. What can I do for you, my child? She asked. Dorothy told the witch her story, how the cyclone had brought her to the land of Oz, how she had found her companions, and of the wonderful adventures they had been met with. Okay, so basically the main idea of this is Dorothy told the witch her story. So we'll highlight that. Number 4. My greatest wish now, she added, is to get back to Kansas. So we need to highlight that. For Aunt Em will surely think something dreadful has happened to me, and that will make her put on mourning clothes. I need someone to tell me a synonym for this word. Moving on, write the word here and move on. And unless the crops are better this year than they were last, I am sure Uncle Henry cannot afford it. Afford what? Glinda leaned forward and kissed the sweet upturned face of the loving little girl. Bless your dear heart, she said. I am sure I can tell you of a way to get back to Kansas. I'm going to put out here, way back. There might be a question I forgot. I'm not sure what all the questions are. I don't always remember them. I don't remember a question about that, but that sounds pretty important. The witch said to the, who? Scarecrow. What do you think sorry about that. What will you do when Dorothy has left us? I will return to the Emerald City, he replied, for Oz has made me its ruler and the people like me. Now who is this? Scarecrow. Scarecrow is the ruler. Let's draw arrows. The only thing that worries me is how to cross the hill of the hammerheads. I shall command the winged monkeys to carry you to the gates of the Emerald City, said Glinda, for it would be a shame to deprive the people of such a wonderful ruler. What does the word deprive mean? Put a synonym out there. Am I really wonderful? Asked the Scarecrow. You are unusual, replied Glinda. Turning to the Tin Woodman, she asked, what will become of you when Dorothy leaves the country? He leaned on his axe and thought a moment. Then he said, the Winkies were very kind to me and wanted me to rule over them after the Wicked Witch died. I am fond of Winkies, and if I could get back to them again in the country of the West, I should like nothing better than to rule over them. So right here, we have Tin Man, Tin Woodman is what they call him, ruling over the Winkies. The story's a little different than I remember it. My second command to the winged monkeys, said Glinda, will be that they carry you safely to the land of Winkies. Your brain may not be so large to look at as those of the Scarecrow, but you are really brighter than he is when you are well polished, and I'm sure you will rule the Winkies wisely and well. We're going to pause there and talk about what we've read so far.